She slapped a sheet of paper against my storm door like she was serving a subpoena to a raccoon. No warning, no explanation, just that overconfident little smirk she always wore. And right across the top, in what looked like 48-point copperplate, the word warrant was screaming at me. I opened the door, looked her dead in the eye, took that paper delicately between two fingers, and tore it straight down the middle, slow, so she wouldn't miss it. You should have seen Trudy's face. Trudy Pennington, our infamous HOA president, the woman with the backbone of a yardstick and the spiritual energy of a printer jam. She staggered back like I'd just ripped the Magna Carta in half. Her mouth worked open and closed. Nothing came out for a second. Then she finally squeaked, "You cannot do that." And I just watched because, folks, she folded right then, like a cheap lawn flamingo in a windstorm. I should back up a second, give you a lay of the land. My name's Marcus Hale. I'm the guy at the end of the Willow Quay cul-de-sac, the quiet one, the jog, at 6 a.m., never bothers anyone type. I bought the smallest house here, drawn in by those brochures promising tranquil lanes, neighborly vibes, and light-touch governance. Yeah, what they didn't mention was Trudy, the walking citation. Our very first meeting was a $50 fine for, get this, an unregistered miniature tree herd. My bonsai collection, just sitting on the porch, not bothering a soul. I paid it just to get her off my back. Rookie move. After that, she made my house a weekly target. Every Tuesday like clockwork, new violation. Ambient wind chimes after curfew. Shed allegedly visible to migratory birds. Mailbox font too assertive. Every week, another bright neon warning stapled to my door at dawn. Plus, gentle reminders on the neighborhood app about male residents resisting community standards. Yeah, that happened. And every time I tried to reason with her, like when she started photographing through my living room window, she'd say, with total sincerity, transparency ensures compliance. Next thing I knew, she was trespassing, measuring eve distances with a tape measure she pulled from her purse, peeking over my backyard fence with this tiny step stool, her civic elevation device. I started documenting everything, but honestly, I never thought it'd go further than weird passive-aggressive notes. But then came Saturday morning, 9:12 sharp. I opened the door, and there she was, flanked by two HOA board members, clipboard, and what I guess was moral support. She slapped that so-called warrant at me, all puffed up like a substitute teacher on the first day of school. The document was on expensive textured paper, an official-looking seal, though if you squinted, it looked suspiciously like pelican clip art. Signed by Judge McGavel, Esquire. Google later told me that's not a real person, unless you count novelty coffee mugs. This warrant authorized full inspection, inside and out, for unauthorized flora, colors, and attitudes. I looked at Trudy and said, "That's not a warrant." She bristled and said it was an administrative warrant under the Community Peace Act. I pointed out, we live in Ohio. She gave me the look, like I was the idiot for not knowing there's a bigger community. That's when I tore it up. She tried to push past me anyway. I shut the door, called the actual police, my voice so calm it surprised even me. 15 minutes later, Officer Delgado arrived. Tall, dry sense of humor, the kind of guy who's seen it all. He glanced at the pelican seal on the torn warrant and asked if this was some kind of comedy sketch. Trudy started in with a speech about derelictions of aesthetics and community standards. Officer Delgado listened. Then, with that polite cop patience, asked if she had homeowner consent or a real court order. Trudy, unbothered, flourished a second copy and a shiny gold HOA Marshal badge straight off the internet. Delgado raised one eyebrow so high it nearly escaped his forehead, then separated us, took statements, checked the doorbell cam. The footage? It had everything. Her trespassing, trying to force her way in, waving the fake badge, acting like she was deputized by Congress. Officer Delgado radioed something to his partner that got a loud chuckle over the radio, then explained to Trudy, using the same voice you'd use for a sugar-hyped kindergartner, that HOAs aren't law enforcement. That trespass is still trespass. That forging a government document is what he called a felony appetizer. He asked Trudy to wait by the curb. Her cheeks matched the stop sign. Within the hour, a city code enforcement inspector showed up. Apparently, Trudy had filed multiple complaints about my non-compliant door color and defiant ficus tree. The inspector looked at my eggshell gray door, approved color palette, by the way, admired my bond size, then turned to Trudy and asked if she'd sent his office a court order for expedited entry. She tried the sort of smile only people who want credit for inventing the calendar can pull off. He held up the fake document by one corner and just said, "Ma'am, this is a crime." Officer Delgado clicked his body cam back on, slow and deliberate. Trudy tried to rally, said the board had voted to deputize her. Delgado, deadpan, said, "You can deputize a snack table, but you can't deputize a seizure." Then he started reading the statutes out loud. Criminal trespass, impersonating a public official, false instrument filing, and, yeah, impersonating an HOA marshal. Her two board buddies disappeared faster than free cake at a potluck, left behind her tote bag and the faint whiff of cucumber melon body spray. As Delgado and the code inspector wrote citations and set a formal interview date at the station, neighbors started gathering on the sidewalk. Somebody yelled, "What shade is your door? Resilient eggshell or firm tofu?" I said, "Alabaster, with boundaries." Got a solid laugh from the crowd. Trudy was halfway to her Prius when she leaned in and hissed, "You'll regret tearing up a court document." Officer Delgado, not missing a beat, called out, "Only thing official torn today was your confidence." Now, here's the twist nobody saw coming. HOA board called an emergency meeting, crammed in the community clubhouse. More people showed up than ever before. Turns out I wasn't the only one cited for attitude violations or whatever else she could dream up. The vote to remove Trudy as president? 47-2, and the two who voted no later claimed they misread the hand raise. The board put out a public apology, brought in a real attorney to review the rules, changed the bylaws. No more inspections without written consent and a real city order, which, trust me, nobody's seeking now. Trudy took a plea deal. Guilty to impersonating an official, fined $1,500 for false filings, ordered to pay my legal fees. And, this is real, she has to attend a class called So You Think You're the Sheriff. Also, a restraining order. She can't come within 75 feet of my house unless she's with a licensed surveyor and has a reason approved by God himself. Now, she runs past my place in a visor, staring straight ahead, like Medusa with an Apple Watch. The board asked me to help rewrite the community guidelines, kept them short. Mow your lawn, don't harass neighbors, and as for door colors, anything the manufacturer calls beige. I started a column in the newsletter, Know Your Rights and Your Cul-de-sac. The day the judge read out her sentence, Trudy went pale, grabbed the table so tight her knuckles matched her new door, pure chalk. So here's the thing. On the surface, it looked like I was just defending my right to bond size and beige paint. But what really happened was a whole neighborhood standing up and saying, enough. And even now, some folks think I went too far, some think not far enough. That's life in a cul-de-sac, right? Community, conflict, and sometimes, just sometimes, you get to see the person who made everyone miserable escorted away by the very rules she tried to weaponize. Now I gotta ask, what would you have done? Was I right to fight, or did I just make more trouble? Ever tangled with an HOA dictator? Drop your story in the comments. Let's see where you land on this little battlefield of lawns and liberties.